Hi YouTube, this is AZ Bill 3433. Last Christmas I received for a Christmas present a Ryobi benchtop drill press that I use for some of my hobby stuff, and ultimately I brought it out here in the garage and put it on some sawhorses with a plywood top over in the corner next to my other workbench. And finally I decided I was going to go ahead and find a style of workbench, a permanent workbench that I wanted to build that would, be more, of course, be more permanent and also be structurally better and get my sawhorses back. So I looked on YouTube and I found several videos that showed people who put together fantastic workbenches, and they seem to have, a lot of them had a lot of skills, which I don't have skills as far as putting together a workbench like that. And but in my looking for a workbench, I found that some of the people were using these type of brackets here, and these are actually brackets made by a company called Simpson Ties. These are sheet metal brackets. If you look on their website, which is called Simpson Ties, you'll find that they have a whole section on workbenches and different styles that you can utilize their plans for. Their plans not only for which particular brackets to use, but also they also give you a cutting list for the size bench that you may need. And so consequently I decided this was probably the easiest way for me, since again, like I said, I'm not exactly the greatest carpenter in the world, and this seemed like an easy way to put it together. Now, these brackets you can find at both on the Home Depot website, but also in the stores also. And I also found these on Amazon. These run anywhere depending on where you go and where you live, possibly. These will run anywhere between $5.50 to $6.50 a bracket. And in this particular case, I needed 8. In most cases, you're going to need 8. Each one of these brackets, you have to have, there's 22 holes in here for the screws. Now, the screws are actually made also by Simpson Ties, at least that's the ones I used. These were SD 8 1.25" self-tapping screws. There's 14 on the outside and 8 on the inside. So you're going to need, they come in, I believe, at least I found them that way. I only found one at Home Depot, one box of 100. I actually had to buy another box off of Amazon for another 100. And but you could probably find those both on Amazon and both at Home Depot. But I would recommend going ahead and using those because they really work very well. I mean, they go through this wood like butter, and all you really need is a variable speed drill and a Phillips bit to put in your drill, and it works out real well. Now the wood itself, I bought the wood at Home Depot, and if you're like me, I try to make it easy as possible. I had them actually cut the length of this legs to size, and you can have the entire wood portion of this cut to size. I already had the top. These are 2 foot deep by 4 foot long. I already had the plywood. I've had it for a number of years. So I was going to utilize it no matter what for both the top and the bottom. But you can have all of this cut. You can have the 2x4s, the 4x4s. They also make a bracket that you can utilize a 2x4 leg instead of a 4x4 if you prefer. I just prefer the strength that I would get out of the 4x4s, and this thing is quite rigid. But you can have it all cut. All you do is go in with the sizes and pick your wood, and they'll cut all that for you. Now, as far as putting it together, it's fairly simple to put together. They say if you mark a 1/2 inch from the top of your leg is a 1/2 inch to the top of this bracket here. Well, what I did is I did use my square to find that 1/2 inch, but I also clamped on the 2x4 so that the top of the 2x4 was flush with the top of the leg, and I clamped it together. I brought this together. The bottom bracket I also put in place at a 5.5 inch height from the bottom to the top. That worked out well because it allowed me to slip my bottom shelf through diagonally through here, made me a 2-foot opening so I could slip that through. So put the ends together. It really works well if you put the ends together first. Really the most important thing is to get, or I felt it was most important to get this cross 17-inch, this is actually 17-inch. Again, when you do this, when you do your measurements, whatever this width is, and you're going to use a 4x4, all you do is take your width minus 7 inches, which is 2 of the 4x4s in their sizes. Subtract 7 inches from that, and that'll give you, it's an easy calculation, that gives you 17 inches here. And in case this was 48-inch, I subtracted the 2 legs, which is 7 inches in total, gave me 41 inches. Again, you can have that cut right at Home Depot. But anyway, you put the ends together first, have the bottoms in, and I marked it 5.5 inches with a square on the bottom on each side. Bring your 2 pieces in together and hold them nice and tight. Maybe it'd be help to have a partner to help you put this together. Put some screws in to just get your locations correct. And then you can go ahead and put all the screws in this particular case if you want to. I wouldn't put in the inside screws until you get the whole thing together. I think it really worked better that the inside screws weren't done. So ultimately, when you get the 2 ends done, and then you put the cross pieces here, the longer pieces in. Again, have a helper maybe clamp them on like I told you before, like you did these sides. Screw these outside ones in just like you did on the short side. And now you got it pretty secure. Now you can turn it over, you can flip it over, you're on the side and do the inside pieces, and it's pretty much together by then. All you do is then put your top on, which I did, and again I countersunk these. I bought some screws which are also self-tapping, and they're countersunk also into the top. The bottom, they say you can actually just put a piece of 2 or 4x4 down on each corner and just scribe a line with a pencil around them and then cut them out. I just did it by marking them from each edge 3.5 inches and cutting them with a circular saw. And when I put it in, it just fit in like a glove. And I have 2 pieces laminated down there too. This is 2 pieces of 2 foot by 4 foot by 3/8 laminated together, so it's 3/4 inches. The height of mine here is only 30 3/4 inches, and that is because I'm going to again mount my drill press on top here, and I needed that because I'm only about 5'10", and by the time the drill press is on here, the gearing is up on the top, and if I have to change the gearing, if this was any higher, I'd have to have somebody stand on their shoulders to actually get to the gears again. So anyway, this is my workbench. I think this is very easy. It's kind of, for me it was a no-brainer because that's kind of who I am. And I think anybody with the minimum of skills could probably put this together. And I hope you enjoyed this little video, and thanks for watching.